Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Gaming Lounge Podcast, episode 75. Once again, I'm your host, Sebastian, and as always, I'm joined by Dory. How's everything going?
And I said, keep her. I don't even know her. And anyway, that's why I'm under investigation for kidnapping charges. Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the podcast. I had a keeper related joke, but we're actually not talking about keeper this week. We're talking about it next week. So my joke doesn't work as well. But I didn't want to forget it, and it was obviously very important. I say it. But the reason we're not talking about keeper is because we have so much shit to talk about. Suddenly, a bunch of things happened about halfway through the week, and even a couple days ago. Recording this on Sunday, so obviously we're going to talk about Halo and Halo coming to PS5, and we'll also talk about the horror indie showcase because of the time of month, and then we've got big impressions to give about Ninja Gaiden 4, and Seb has some thoughts as well about Pokemon Legends ZA. But we're going to start with Fallout. As for me, been a very tiring week because some personal stuff going on. But hoping next week's a little better. So we'll get right into it with Fallout.
So, this week we had Fallout Day, which kicked off the bit heavy Xbox news week that we had. So, Fallout Day is, we have that every single year. We usually get like a big announcement or two. And in this case, it was pretty disappointing, unfortunately, because long has it been rumored that they're working on a Fallout 3 remaster or a New Vegas remaster, and that's what everybody was hoping to see in the showcase, and we didn't get that, unfortunately. So what we did get was a Fallout 4 Anniversary Edition, because it's the 10-year anniversary, although ironically it comes out next year. But we're getting an anniversary edition that has all the expansions plus a creation hub, and it's heading to all modern platforms, plus the Nintendo Switch 2 in 2026. This does absolutely nothing for me as a PC gamer. Not sure like how much better it will run on my PC. I don't know. Is this a remaster really? I was kind of like I guess it's cool for like Switch 2 owners, or if you want to replay Fallout 4 on the PS5 or something. But as a PC gamer, I need to see what's the advantage of that. Is there any interest in that for you?
I never played Fallout 4. I would probably sooner play Fallout 3 than Fallout 4.
Yeah, I agree.
But obviously, I mean, they're individual titles, so it's not super impactful either way in terms of what order you do things in. But yeah,
Yeah.
I mean, it doesn't do much for me either. It's funny, the only reason I knew about Fallout Day was because I saw some people on Facebook, yes, I'm old, um, were complaining, like Fallout pages on Facebook were complaining about the announcement day and how lame it was.
Mm-hmm.
So that's how I knew about it. Not exactly a good reason.
Yep. And then we also got a next-gen version of Fallout 76, which is coming to PS5 and Xbox Series in early 2026. And it's getting a major expansion called Burning Springs, which is set in post-nuclear Ohio with new quests and NPCs. I don't personally play Fallout 76, but I gotta give them credit. They really did turn that game around, and it's probably as popular as ever and as good as ever. But again, it doesn't do anything for me personally, so...
Yeah, I never got into 76. I wasn't even into the franchise at this point. At that point, to date, I've only played New Vegas,
Yeah.
and actually, we're going to talk about New Vegas in the next part. So,
Yeah, so New Vegas is getting a 15th anniversary collector's edition, but unfortunately, we didn't get anything new with it. It's the same game, but no remake, no remastered version. We're getting you get a statue, the Victor statue, which is the robot with the cowboy face.
right.
You get like a patch and art, like cards. You get a Vault Boy pin, and then you get the game. But I don't really see the point of this. If it was a remake, then totally on board. I wouldn't buy the collector's edition, but I would still be totally on board with the game. But this game is almost always like $4 or $5 on Steam. Like, it's always on sale for cheap. So I don't see any reason to spend $50 to $60 on a new edition of a game, or
Yeah,
it's gonna be more than
feels
that.
like a very naked cash grab on the part of Bethesda
Yes,
with this.
and they didn't even make this
Um,
game. This is
yeah.
Obsidian.
Right, right. So, yeah, and I definitely still recommend going to play New Vegas, of course. I mean, you probably don't need me to tell you, but it's an excellent RPG and it really holds up. I
Hmm.
would definitely love that for there to be a remaster or remake just so more
Yeah,
people could play it with more modern controls. Like that's a game that desperately needs a sprint button, unlike
yes,
other games maybe,
yeah.
arguably. But yeah, it's still really great, really holds up. So go play it. But yeah, don't buy this collector's edition. Feels like a waste of time and money.
Yeah, New Vegas is the best Fallout game in my opinion. I do love Fallout 3 more, like because I just have a history with it and I played it the most. But New Vegas, objectively, I think is the best Fallout game. And yeah, I strongly recommend it. It's on sale like literally all the time for like $4 to $5. Like I just don't see the point unless this was like a remake or something. But you never know because they remade Oblivion. I mean, of course, it wasn't like completely from the ground up where it revamped the entire game. It was basically the same game, just with a very nice fresh coat of paint. But but it was really pretty, as we talked about in our podcast. I think we both really enjoyed the Oblivion remake.
Yes, I thought it was a great game. It was my
Yeah,
first time playing Oblivion,
yeah,
so for me it was a fresh experience. But
yeah,
yeah, I think a lot of my opinions and experiences were pretty universal in that I prefer the side quests over the main quest. I think I spent about 25 to 30 hours in it, which is on the short side, of course. But I did a lot of side quests, and then I just mainlined it because I was good on the combat. Like the combat was good, but it wasn't enough for me to like want to keep going back.
yeah. And that's what people are hoping to see from New Vegas and Fallout 3. That's why everybody's so disappointed with the showcase. And then finally, unfortunately, we did not get any confirmation or concrete details on Fallout 5. As I said earlier, it's been 10 years since Fallout 4 came out, so that's the last mainline entry in the series. Fallout is as popular as ever, with the show being a huge hit and it's critically acclaimed. It has huge numbers on streaming and everything. So everybody's really excited for season 2 because it's doing New Vegas. So I'm very excited. That show was I would if you asked me I would say the Fallout show is the greatest video game adaptation of all time. Like it is the greatest. There's never been a show that's been not just high quality with the acting and the storytelling, but like it's actually a really feels like a game. It feels like a show that actually takes place in the world of the video games. It's not like someone's like version of how they think the game should be. It actually feels like they were very loyal to an extent. There's some canon issues which some people get really upset about, but for the most part, it's like a genuine tribute to Fallout, and I strongly recommend it if you have Amazon. So the point
Yeah,
is, yeah, go ahead.
it feels wild to me that they are not at least putting out a remaster of some kind in conjunction
Yeah,
with the season that's coming out for the Fallout show. Like
yeah,
that feels like a slam dunk. Like wouldn't they know that season 2 is going to focus on
yeah,
New Vegas way ahead of time of all people, and
yeah,
then to not release a remaster alongside it to capitalize like that's what say what you want about Naughty Dog, right? And trust me, I will. I have said plenty over the past few years about what they've done. You cannot deny the business acumen of re-releasing those games just as the show is hitting peak popularity. I can't believe Bethesda is somehow turning down free money because that's basically what they're doing. And I don't even think it would cost. I mean, I don't know. Of course, I'm not a game designer, so I'm not gonna say it's not gonna cost anything. But if they know ahead of time, why aren't they putting some effort at least towards announcing
hmm
a remaster of New Vegas? Everybody loves New Vegas. I love New Vegas. So I don't know. It doesn't make any sense.
hmm
It would be perfect to do that now when season 2 is coming out and it's making all these references to New Vegas, but I guess they just don't care.
yeah. That's exactly what I was gonna say. I don't understand why they're not capitalizing on the success of the show. And Fallout's as popular as ever with casual audience. Never mind the hardcore audience.
Right.
It's easy money. Small teams work on remasters, so there's no reason why they can't at least remaster it.
Yeah.
They probably are working on that, but who knows when that's going to be. So anyway, let's transition to our next Xbox topic, which is Halo Campaign Evolved, which is the very highly rumored game that we've heard about for a long time now, that was being worked on, and it's finally revealed. And wouldn't, by no surprise, it is coming to PS5 for the first time ever. Halo game's coming to PlayStation, which we figured because, of course, every franchise has come to PlayStation at this point.
Yeah.
Forza's on there, Gears of War, and now Halo.
Yep.
So
yeah, once Gears came, I mean, nothing was off limits really.
Yeah. And Forza. That's their cash cow.
Forza, yeah.
Yeah.
I forget. I always forget how big Forza is. I want to say real quick, since we might glaze over this, but I really just hope. I mean, I don't really need to hope for this because it's just true. I've seen a lot of the internet discussion about this. I don't think Halo fans are ever fucking happy about anything. Now, I'm not saying that there's nothing to criticize here. I'm not saying blindly be loyal to corporations. And I'm not saying that none of this is a cash grab or some of it might be this, that, or the other thing in terms of laziness. But holy shit, are people miserable online about this. Yeah. There are so many. I've seen literally people complain about the assault rifle having 32 bullets instead of 60. And I'm like, you need to go touch grass. Like, and I don't say that very lightly because I'm a very inside person too. Yeah. But holy cow, some of you Halo fans need to go touch grass urgently because, I mean, we'll talk about it. But to me, a lot of this looks good. I mean, I'm not saying there's no issues. Yeah. But like on the whole, it looks impressive, and I'm tentatively excited to be nostalgia baited. But anyway, continue.
Yeah, so we're getting 3 brand new prequel missions that expand on the story. Obviously, it's a remake, so we got overhauled visuals, lighting, audio, and cutscenes. Of course, it's built in Unreal Engine 5, which, as we both know, can be very finicky.
Yep. Not looking forward to that.
Yeah. There's improved AI and smoother combat flow, so it makes the game feel more modern. Of course, the classic weapons and the vehicles are in return, plus a few new additions from later Halo games. So they're tying the canon together. It supports 4-player co-op online and local split screen play. You got to bring that. You got to put that in a Halo game. I mean, that's classic. You guys full cross-play and cross-progression between all platforms. So, in other words, you can play on PlayStation, Xbox, PC, and everything progresses across all the platforms. So, no one's missing out. Everybody can play together. There's no multiplayer or PvP modes. The main focus, and it's literally in the title, it's a pun. This is all about the campaign, right? Like, this is all about the story mode, which is, I believe, 13 missions, regular, like the normal one, off the top of my head. Overall, they're aiming to balance nostalgia with a fresh, modern presentation. You know, Halo is not quite as popular as when we were growing up. Halo was, like, one of the major franchises in gaming. Like, when I was a kid, and mostly middle school, I would say, in high school a bit too, Halo 3, it was like the most popular shooter. That was that and Call of Duty, and then it was like everybody played World of Warcraft, Call of Duty, Left 4 Dead, and Halo, right? So this was it was one of the marquee franchises. If I talk to a kid today, if I asked one of my students anything about Halo, they'd probably just know they'd probably know Master Chief from Fortnite. Really, like that's Halo. Yeah. Halo is just not what it used to. Like, I don't think Infinite.
It's wild to think about. Good. I mean, I remember being a teenager and Halo was just on top of the world. Yeah. Like, they had all these sponsorships. They were showing up on TV. It was so huge. It was a cultural phenomenon. I mean, it's what brought Xbox to the table in terms of the console war, right? Which I think a lot of people are saying with Halo coming to Xbox, the console war is pretty much, it's low-key, it's been probably done for years now. Yeah. But, like, this is probably, like, the final thing in terms of the console wars are just dead. Like, they're just over. Yeah. Xbox has ceded console exclusivity. Yeah. PlayStation is the only one. Well, Nintendo does it too, but Nintendo's always going to do their thing. But PlayStation still does it.
I would call it a time war now and not a console war. When I say time war, I mean everybody's competing for your time because we only have so much time in our days to play games, right? So I think everybody's competing for that. now.
Yeah, I mean
They're,
that's what Xbox said. They said that their main competitors aren't PlayStation at this point. It's TikTok
yeah,
and social media streaming sites, which feels bizarre
yeah,
because they're a gaming company, and I would think their main competition would be PlayStation and Nintendo,
yeah.
but they
I
don't
th-
see it that way.
I think
So,
yeah, because I think they're speaking through the lens of Microsoft, which yes, they are competing
right,
against Google and Apple, right? Like those are
sure,
their rivals. But yeah, point is, I think this game is meant to bring Halo to a new audience, make it more modern. Hopefully, it catches on and gets really popular on Steam, on Game Pass, or whatever, right? And on PlayStation, of course, right? Big audience on PlayStation that's going to be really interested in this. I think this game is going to sell very well, and I think it's going to be very successful. People are going to bitch, of course. It's like, you change this, you change that. We already seen it. But I think it's going to be successful, and I think this could be a good step for Halo to start getting more popular again. So I think I'm not against this. I mean,
sure.
I'm only against remakes that if like the game's only been like around for like 5-10 years. Then yeah, like The Last of Us Part One, right, was kind of just we really don't need that, right? We had a remaster of it a year later and stuff like that. It's been what, 2001, so it's been 24
It'll be
years.
25 years
Yeah,
when which is crazy
yeah,
in 2026. So
yeah.
yeah, along those similar
I think it's
lines,
fine.
yeah, I think it's fine. It's been a quarter of a century, everybody,
Most of my life.
since Halo 1 came out.
Yeah,
I did want to talk about this very briefly. I saw a lot of commotion about this. So there were allegations that generative AI. So for people who aren't aware, generative AI is like, Chat GPT, and like people using it's the kind of AI that sucks, right? It's the AI that has that's like is trying to do creative people's work and puts them out of jobs, and replacing people with robots and stuff like that, which isn't inherently bad, but in creative endeavors generally is, right? Because robots just can't really do what humans can do, no matter how advanced they are.
yeah. Creativity.
Anyway, right, creativity. So that's mostly what the allegations were. An Xbox insider alleged that they were using some generative AI, but then kind of backtracked a little and said that he thinks that the kind of AI that they're using is like processing AI, which is the kind of AI that video games have been using for I don't know, a decade now or
Yeah.
something or more,
Let's
right?
read the actual quote verbatim, so we're
Sure.
not changing anything. We're not paraphrasing or anything like that. I want to be very
Right.
clear. People are creative. People make games. AI can improve workflows. It can do things for the game, Khan says. But I want to be very specific and clear that the people are the ones who are creating the game, and there's an opportunity to improve a workflow or something along those lines. We'll look at it again. It really should be additive to the creation of a game. Game director Greg Herman says, "It's a tool in a toolbox," he says. "I may go a little off message here, but some of that gets very challenging when we look at how integrated AI is becoming within our tooling. We use Photoshop. There's generative fill, for example. The boundary lines can get a little fuzzy. I will say, though, again, to Damon's point, it really is about that creative spark that comes from people and improving just overall workflows." Now, I fully understand this as a professional myself who uses AI in my teaching, because first of all, the district strongly encourages us to use it, and it's a tool. It's very important, and it really works. It doesn't change how I teach, and it doesn't change my creativity, what I come up with, but it just helps. It's a toolbox. It's a tool in a toolbox, and that's how I view it. I think some people are so anti-AI that they've become very biased and just assume anything with AI is bad. I don't think it's just that simple. I'm against AI when it comes to generative art and stealing people's movies or stealing people's art and things like that. But I think in a tool as you're creating barrels that just save people time, I don't think that's an issue. That's not creativity. Like, that's just part of the developing a game. I'm not
Right.
against that. Um, I'm against if you made your entire game with AI and you're just copying off people's work or something like that. You're stealing from people's
Sure.
artwork. That's totally different, right? But this is
Yeah.
just a tool where you're designing more barrels, or it's just helping people work faster and smarter. I think that's a good thing. I'm not against that.
Yeah. I think to your point, and I was going to say something similar. People have become so skeptical of AI as a general phrase or word, and I think for some good reasons, but unfortunately, AI has become a catch-all for generative AI. Like, there are types of
Yeah.
AI that are literally saving people's lives in hospitals, and it's
Yeah.
like, I'm not against that, right? I have no problem with that. But when like you are making people's faces based on other people's faces and using their voices without their
Yeah,
permission, or
that's a
like
problem.
really fucking weird shit like that,
Yeah.
or like stealing people's artwork, or like if
Mm-hmm.
your whole game is based around generative AI, right? I don't have any problem with people using AI to speed up. Like I use AI. This is like when I'm Google searching, right? There's an AI like summarizer, right? And I almost always go to the source, to the links, just to make sure what they're saying has like sense,
Yeah.
makes sense. But and that's really it. All I use for AI, but it's still helpful. Like I
Yeah.
agree with Seb that like it can be helpful for you, and as long as you don't like let it control you
Yeah.
and you control it,
It's
you can have a better
yeah.
kind of balance there.
Exactly. It's just a tool. Like it's how you use it, right? Like some people can use it
Yeah.
really harmful ways, but really it's up to it's really the person, not the tool itself that's an
And
issue.
it feels like Halo Studios are prioritizing the people, and they're not prioritizing technology. That's kind of what I
Yeah.
got out of that. Like they
Yeah.
said, it's about that creative spark. It's not about the spark from
Yeah.
fucking
It
electricity or whatever.
a great example to use to compare this to compare to like to have this for discussion is to mention the Plants vs Zombies remake, right? Where they literally just took the artwork with AI from the original creators without their permission, or that I mean they don't need their permission because they own the franchise, but they straight up used AI to fix up the game, and that was a big controversy with the Plants vs Zombies remake. So that's a lot worse than this, right? This is just improving workflow. So I think that's something to note because like I said, people are so anti AI right now that like they're it's clouding their judgment on everything AI. It's like they just like want to boycott anything that uses AI, and it's not that simple. Like sometimes for my lesson plan or something, or I want to do something creative for my students, I'll just ask GPT to give me some like suggestions, like some cool creative ideas I can use, and then I use whatever they tell me. Like I'll just create my own thing out of that, right? It's just a tool that helps me generate ideas. Like I'm not stealing anyone's artwork or anything like that. So it's just
Right.
people just need to have a nuance and just judge things objectively and not just put everything in a giant cloud, a one glove fits all approach that people look at. People really got to stop this binary thinking all the time where it's like it's either good or bad. There is plenty of gray in between. All right, let's transition to our next topic, which is the horror indie showcase, which is going to be our replacement for our Halloween topic, because why not? We're talking about horror games, right? Horror indie games. This show was very loaded. Now I want to preface that by saying that just because it interests me doesn't mean I'm definitely gonna buy it. And the same for Dory. They interest me. I'm probably not gonna buy like 60 to 70% of these, but I'll keep an eye on it and get it on sale and things like that. The Halloween sale on Steam should be coming around, or it should be right around the corner. I think it's either tomorrow or Tuesday or something like that. I always hate that Steam does their Halloween sale so late in October. And even then, I can't enjoy any horror games because there's always a shitload of new games coming out in October. I just never get a chance to play horror games like I want to. Anyway, this showcase was hosted by two YouTubers, I think, and John Wolf being one of them is one of my favorite YouTubers. He has awesome horror streams. He has really awesome ghost videos where he always criticizes the ghost videos, like the Nuke's top 5 videos and things like that. He always finds the logical approach and things like. John Wolf's a really great YouTuber. I strongly recommend you watch him. But in this showcase, they showed us a bunch of indie games. They had a really cool transition. Like it was like walking around a CGI cabin and things like that. I thought it was cool. I'm not familiar with this showcase, so I feel like it's new, or maybe I just never seen
It's
it.
a couple. It's I think a couple years old. Like I think they've only had. I think
Okay.
it goes back to
I just don't.
2023. So
Yeah, because I've been doing podcasts for 5 years now with video game stuff, and I just don't recall ever seeing the showcase. Maybe it just always
No.
eluded me. All right, so we have a lot of games from this. Most of them are going to be relatively fast. We're not going to go in full detail with all of them. I'll read the Steam page for them. And as we always do in our notes, story is orange is both of us, blue is me, and purple is you. And let's start off with Butler Guillotine. And or do you have that pulled up on Steam or?
I do, yeah. So
Go
Butler
ahead.
Guillotine. This is a psychological point and click game. I thought this looked really cool. The Steam thing says flesh-filled puppets in a misshapen hotel, no windows, no exterior. Follow different characters intertwining paths and unearth forgotten events from a time long ago. Bring the ceremony to a halt. So this is from developer and publisher Goodbye Static.
Yeah.
It is kind of a retro theme single player game. It looks really cool.
Yeah. The gameplay seemed like it had fixed camera angles, so which is going to appeal more to me than you, I would say. But I thought that world was very interesting. Everybody, yeah, like it seems like everybody's like a mannequin, really, or a puppet,
Yeah.
and there's a lot of gore. And yeah, I think it looks really cool. I'm interested in the world. It's like 1920s exterior and all that. So they didn't show us a lot, but it looked pretty cool. So something I'll keep my eye on. Comes out Q1 of 2026. So check that out. All right, the next one was Broken Lore, Don't Lie, which is a psychological horror spin-off of Don't Watch, where lies, medication, and fragile bonds blur the line between reality and nightmare. This one stood out because it was the most 3D CGI heavy of the games. While a lot of the games had like a PS1 aesthetic or indie aesthetic, this one was very, I don't want to say AAA, but it was definitely more on the high end of graphics and things like that. What did you think
Yeah.
of this game?
This game looked really cool. I actually have Don't Watch on my uh, Steam family library because I think one of your friends was a big like horror fan, so that's how I know about this.
Yeah.
And it looked really cool. I agree. This looks almost double A-ish.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I really liked sort of the Japanese horror elements. Of course, we already get that through games like Silent Hill,
Yeah.
but it's nice to see other Japanese horror games besides that.
Absolutely. Yeah. I thought it looked really cool. It's like first person. It's probably like a stealth game or at least a walking simulator game with cool visuals, and it might be a cool experience just from that alone. All right, the next game on my list was God Help Us All, which is a fixed camera survival horror game that merges the suffocating dread of classic horror with the brutal grit of the Wild West. In other words, it plays like an old school Resident Evil game, but it takes place in the Wild West. And that's all you need to sell me on. I thought it looked really cool. Obviously, this would appeal more to me than Dory. Dory doesn't like the fixed camera
Right.
angle games, but
Yeah.
I'm a sucker for that. I thought it was a really cool mix, like mixing Wild West cowboy stuff with like actual like Resident Evil gameplay. Like it literally had the Resident Evil like the Resident Evil in the Silent Hill original inventory screen and puzzle solving and combat and stuff. So I thought it looked really cool. So I wanted to shout that out as well. All right, the next game was System Shock 2, which obviously this is a remake this is a remaster, I want to say, of System Shock 2. It's 25th anniversary. And it says on Steam it is a genre-defining experience that established innovative gameplay mechanics that are a staple of the first-person shooter and role-playing game genre today. Survive the wretched corridors of the Von Braun. Your training has prepared you for this. I mean, this game's already out, of course, but I just wanted to shout it out. It's a classic game. It's one of the greatest games ever made. If you like horror games, strongly recommend it. Also, I recommend you play the remake as well. But I guess if you go from the remake to this, you're going to see the difference, of course, in quality. But the big thing was there's a multiplayer mode now, or might there always been. I haven't been following it, but there's a multiplayer mode too. You can play with friends and stuff like that. So that's cool. So I'm assuming that's the new thing in it. All right, the next thing was The Secret of Weepstone. So Dory, can you talk about that one?
Yeah, so this is the Secret of Weepstone. I at first thought it was the Secret of Weebstone, and I was like, "Holy shit! A bunch of weebs made a goddamn Demon Slayer castle. That's awesome."
Yeah.
But no, it's a Weepstone with a P. This is so up my alley. It's not even funny. This is an old school, really old school D&D
Yeah.
adventure. I think it's based on an actual module from the original Dungeons and Dragons game, but I'm not sure. It could just be loosely based around it. But basically, this is black and white ink. I love the art. It reminds me of that game on the ship. I can't remember what it's called, but it's a puzzle game.
Oberdin.
Um,
Oberdin.
yes, the Oberdin. Thank
Yeah.
you. Reminds me of the Oberdin. Hand-drawn black and white dungeon crawler RPG. Roll dice, fight monsters, loot dungeons, embrace death, and unravel the secret of Weepstone. One thing I love is that if your characters die, you gain unique mortal favors.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know what the hell that means, but that sounds really cool. You level up your characters, you solve dangerous puzzles, you roll dice for skill checks in combat. So I mean, it's kind of a Dory game. I don't know how punishing it'll be. If it's super difficult, then I won't be into it. And old school D&D was notoriously,
Yeah.
a lot of people brought backup characters to campaigns because no guarantee that you weren't
Yeah.
just going to fall into a pit and fucking die. So if it's kind of like that, I might not be in, but
Yeah.
I cautiously added it to my wish list.
Yeah, it appeals to me for the same reasons you mentioned. I think the black and white sketch drawing, like animation, looks great, and I'm really interested in anything D&D fantasy. Like, I thought the gameplay looked pretty cool. I'm not like, oh my god, I'm excited for it, but I'm like really interested. I think it could be really, really cool. So I'm definitely keep my eye on that. All right, the next game that was on both of our lists is Am I Nima, which is a psychological horror game where you must convince your mom that you really are her daughter. You combine words together in your brain and use them to talk, and you have to get her to trust you. We won't go in full detail because we already talked about this game a few weeks ago, but like we said last time, the art style is what really appeals to me, and I think it's really cool. The gameplay mechanics sounds cool. It might be not great in practice, but we'll see. But the concept is really cool, so I'm very interested in how this works out. What do you think?
Yeah, I think it looks great, and you're right. It's really the art design. The demo is out now, so if I'm not sure if I'll get a chance to play it, but if anybody wants to try out the game mechanics and see how they work in practice, that would be a good idea. But yeah, I totally agree with Seb. It's the animation that really carries this. It looks really cool. It's just a really cool idea too.
Yeah.
And I'm very excited to see how this does. It's wish listed very strongly.
Yeah, another game that's on both our lists is Desktop Explorer, which we've talked about several times now, I think, in several episodes.
So we won't really talk about it, but it looks cool, and I'm glad that they're still working on it.
Like, again, it's a point-and-click game on an old PC, and it's a psychological horror game, and that's pretty much it. If you grew up with classic Windows like we did, this will appeal to you. So I definitely check that out. The next game on the list was Frida is Changing, which was on Dory's list. So can you talk about that one?
Sure. Frida is 14, furious, and sick of secrets. Uncover the real reason for your sister's disappearance. You snoop through an isolated village, crack puzzles, and stir up trouble. But hurry, monsters are lurking where you least expect them. So this is described as adventure, 2D, atmospheric. This gave me big Beetlejuice vibes. Did it give you those kind of vibes too?
Yeah, I could see that. 100%.
Yeah, I got some Beetlejuice vibes. I won't say it a third time. I don't know what'll happen, but I really liked what I saw here. It says where an angry little girl is against the rest of her home village. It's a point-and-click adventure, which I'm always mixed on, but I might enjoy it. You question the villagers, you uncover clues, you poke around in a messy past everyone wishes would stay buried. So sounds pretty cool. I'm gonna wish list it. The demo is out now, so go check it out if you want.
Yeah, that definitely is a Dory game, I feel like, on the surface. All right, the next game is Lurks Within Walls, which we talked about in the past as well. It's a tense survival horror game that combines modern dungeon crawling RPG with fast-paced turn-based combat. Explore cursed environments infested with creatures born from the haunted art of Trevor Henderson. this really cool idea, and this is the kind of game I would make. If I was a game developer, I would make a Resident Evil style like RPG, like a survival horror RPG, and that's exactly what this game is. It's a turn-based RPG where you fight monsters and like literally RPG combat. It's really cool. It really, this game has always really stood out to me since I've seen it. It doesn't have a release date yet. I thought I saw a number for a second, but no, I guess not. So again, I'm guessing that, okay, 'cause it says winter 2026. It says that in the video, but on Steam, but it does not say that on Steam. But it's coming out late next year, so definitely check it out. It definitely appeals to me. I think it looks awesome. All right, the next game was the Nobody Woods, which is on both of our lists. Dory, can you talk about that one?
Sure. This is the Nobody Woods, and then the
Lucy.
sort of subtitle is, yes, Lucy. It's an adventure game set in Nobody Woods. Surprise, I know. A place on the border between life and death. Escape from those who want to take Lucy's life. Explore the forest, solve puzzles, and meet new friends.
Yeah.
Now, I'm not really sure how much this is or is not for me, but I really love the animation. And
Yeah.
as everyone knows at this point, Seb and I are a sucker for some good animation.
This is very,
So,
it's very Tim Burton, very
Yes.
Double Fine, I would say.
I definitely got some of those vibes as well.
Yeah.
I'm just looking at a lot of black and white and stripes and whatnot.
Yeah.
But it looks really cool. I don't know exactly what to expect. There's a little bit more. You escape looming threats, meet strange new friends. It is a story-driven horror adventure blending cruelty with dark comedy. Intuitive 3D point-and-click exploration. That's good. So I added it to my wish list, but kind of a tentative ad. I'm not sure if I'd actually play it, but like Seb said at the top of the indie horror section, just because we name it as something we're interested in doesn't mean we'll play it.
Yeah, this probably appeals more to me because I tend to like point and click games more so than you do, but
Right.
but we both like narrative games, so I this is something I'm really into, and it wasn't afraid to be gory either. Like the character gets straight up eaten and there's blood and everywhere, so very adult point and click game. Kind of remind me of Alice's Madness series. All right. Moving on to Scarlet Hollow, which is on Dory's list. So can you talk about that one?
Yeah, it is. This is from the people who brought you Slay the Princess. I fucking love Slay the Princess. That is a great choose-your-own-adventure game. Obviously, if you're looking for a lot of action and 3D and environments and big AAA production, you're not going to get that.
Yeah.
But this is from the same people who did Slay the Princess. Go check that out if you love choose-your-own-adventure type games. I loved it. You're on stead, your cousin hates you, and you're stuck in the dead-end town of Scarlet Hollow. Choose your path through a branching narrative so dense that you'll see less than 1/5 of the game on a single playthrough, and you won't be able to save everyone. Good luck and welcome home. This is already out, by the way. This came out in 2021. Yeah. I had no idea.
Early access.
This was the revelation of the showcase for me, because apparently the people who did Slay the Princess started this game way before Slay the Princess, because I think Slay the Princess came out a couple years ago.
Yeah.
And they're still adding episodes to this, so that's kind of weird. You would think they'd finish that and then go to Slay the Princess. But anyway, episode 5, I think, and 6 are coming out next year. It's in early access right now. I will be waiting until it is complete before I play it. But right now, I mean, just go to its Steam page. Very positive. All reviews are overwhelmingly positive. 98% of over 3,000 reviews are positive. So that's wild. I almost never see that on Steam, and I look at a lot of games on Steam. So if this is your kind of game where you like choices matter and narrative, oh boy, this was the game for me on this showcase. I immediately wishlisted this, and I will be playing it probably in 2026 when it wraps up in late 2026.
So another game that was on my list was Folklore Hunter, which came out in 2020, and is still in early access. But it says you're a world-renowned hunter of supernatural beasts, take on contracts, and track down urban legends from all over the world, gather resources, set traps, prepare your equipment, use your hunter instincts, and defeat the beasts before they stop you. I'm a little iffy on the gameplay from what I saw, but the concept sounds really awesome. Fighting like a Wendigo in the woods and hunting it down sounds like a really cool idea. It has mostly positive reviews on Steam, so I'll check it out. Because I'm looking at the reviews right now, and most of them are positive, so... It seems like it's a game that's still has some things that need to be fixed, but when it does, it could be a really cool idea. So I thought that was cool. Very stood out to me because it wasn't that many first-person shooters, like purely shooters in this game. It's not like Doom, but definitely has shooting mechanics in it. All right, another game that was on my list was Cold Abyss, which I've had my eye on for quite a while now. It's been on my wish list for a while. It's a relaxing and atmospheric exploration game where you repair internet cables on the bottom of the ocean. There are no enemies or other forms of danger down there, just you. This game is creepy because it has like a PS1 aesthetic to it, and the atmosphere looks amazing, especially with the bad graphics. So I'm a sucker for these PS1 aesthetics that these indie games keep going for. So I just wanted to shout that out as well. Another game that was on both of our list was Beneath. Dory, you want to talk about that one first?
Yeah, absolutely. So, Beneath is a Lovecraft-inspired survival FPS. Scarce ammo, merciless enemies, and a sense of the unknown combined in a 10-plus hour. Oh, I like that they tell you how long it is right at the get-go. A story-driven single-player campaign built for both veteran gamers and those seeking a challenging old-school experience. It is described as horror FPS, shooter, violent combat, and lots of gore. Comes out pretty soon, actually, October 27th, and there's a demo out right now.
It comes out tomorrow, literally.
It comes out tomorrow. That's right. I was like looking at the date, and I looked at it too quick, and I thought it was a little further away. But yeah, literally comes out tomorrow. There's a demo right now, so go check it out. But yeah, similar to Folklore Hunter for Seb, this stood out to me because there weren't a lot of FPS games, and this looked pretty decent, especially for an indie game.
Yeah, this actually looked much better than the other game. I think this is one of the highlights of the show. This looks most AAA, and reminded me of Doom 3 and like Fear, maybe. That's the vibes I was getting. And you fight like Cthulhu in the ocean and stuff. This game looks really cool. Like I'm gonna follow the reviews. I put it on my wish list right now. Yeah, this game looked awesome.
It had a cool like butt rock song going on during the trailer too. I also enjoyed that.
Yeah,
very much gave me like a we're in the mid 2000s kind of feel.
Absolutely. All right, the next game on my list was Death in Abyss, which is an intense flight shooter that challenges you to utilize your maneuverability and explosive firepower to survive against the deep sea hostilities. In your descent, the nightmares can only get worse. It was basically an on-rail shooter like Star Fox, but like underwater fighting giant monsters. I thought it looked really cool. It comes out next month, November 28th. And I just wanted to shout that out because that's something I would get. Like, it's probably going to be relatively cheap, be fun to play on like a handheld. It looked really cool, so I wanted to shout that out. All right, the next game on my list was Mutant Football League 2, which I didn't even know this was a thing. I guess it looks like this game already came out last year. It was like an arcade football game. It looked kind of fun. I had no idea about this. I love football. It's my favorite sport, of course. And it looked like a really fun game to play. Like, you get to like shoot your opponent with a shotgun or brutally kill them. I gotta check this out. It's an early access game.
It's got very positive reviews. I mean, there's only 77, but almost all of them are positive, which is great.
This looks really fun. I might have a blast with this one. So let me do my homework on that one. All right, the next thing was Empty Shell 2, which it says take on the roles of expendable volunteers sent to a forsaken facility on a remote Japanese island. Recover lost data, scavenge for resources, manage your inventory, and endure unspeakable cosmic horrors. In this top-down extraction survival horror, every expedition is a journey back from madness. I thought the gameplay looked really cool. I really like the top-down view. The creature design's pretty cool. I'm digging this. Of course, we'll see how it overall plays and the narrative and all that. But this was like a fun game to play, especially on a handheld. Like it's another one, like a really cool small indie game to play. Unfortunately has no release date or anything like that, but something I'll keep my eye on and put on my wish list. All right, then the next game, which was on both of our lists, which was Project Soundbird. Is that right?
Yeah, Project. I think it's Songbird or Soundbird.
Songbird.
Songbird, not Soundbird.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is a cinematic first-person narrative horror game set in the Appalachian Forest. You take on the role of Dakota, a musician who must record their new album in a remote log cabin amidst a writer's block. Take caution, however, these woods were never empty. I could have sworn the guy who was voicing the person who was like giving advice to Dakota kind of sounded like Troy Baker, although I don't think it's him because he's kind of too big for a game like this. But it did sound like him.
Yeah.
I don't think it's him though.
It did sound like it was Troy Baker. I thought the same thing. I was like, wait a minute. I mean, he does smaller stuff. He doesn't like.
He does. So it's not impossible. I just feel like they would have like sung that to high heaven.
Yeah, that's true.
No, I think it was Jonah Scott. He was in Dying Light 2 Stay Human, apparently.
Okay.
There's also the woman, Dakota is Valerie Rose Lohman, who was in What Remains of Edith Finch. That's wild.
Yeah.
And Wolfenstein Youngblood. But anyway, it says a dark, enthralling 2 to 3 hour narrative. Ooh, again, it tells you how long it is. I love when they do that. Mm-hmm. Gorgeous visuals, range and melee combat there's combat with upgradable weapons, a permadeath system. Oh boy, I'm not sure if I like that. That brings real weight and tension to every encounter. A beautifully dynamic and haunting soundtrack composed and performed by members of the band Auric Echoes. So it sounds really cool. I don't know if I like that permadeath system though, even on a short game like that.
Yeah, Project Songbird. Did they say if you like Alan Wake 2, Firewatch, Ludo, Resident Evil 7, Silent Hill 2, The Beginner's Guide, and What Remains of Edith Finch, you'll like this game. This is what they said on Twitter. That's quite a combo, and I could totally see it. That's probably why it appeals to me, because a lot of those games are like fantastic. So.
Yeah, I love Ludo. Ludo was a great game.
Yeah, I mean, Alan Wake 2, Resident Evil 7, Firewatch, those are quality games. Edith Finch, and those are all amazing games. All right. The next game, which appealed to me, was Terrifier. The art.
It's art! Literally, it's art.
Yeah, Terrifier has become a horror icon at this point. He's pretty much the Deadpool of Horror Nights now on Universal. Like they have him walking around now. Like he's become like a mascot. And this game is a bloody retro fighting beat 'em up with frantic action and a lot of fun and references to the Terrifier franchise. So it's a beat 'em up game where you play as a Terrifier. I mean, this is very anti-Dory, but this is very me. I mean,
ironically, I love the Terrifier movies, so if this wasn't a beat 'em up, I would be a lot more interested. But yes, I love Terrifier 1's okay, and then Terrifier 2 is great. I haven't seen 3 yet.
3 is the best
to see it when it went out in theaters, but Kim wasn't interested, so I had no one to see it with.
Yeah.
And I just haven't gotten around to it.
It's a great Christmas movie.
But I aim to see it at some point. There's so many horror movies I've been watching this month. I haven't really had time for it. But I love Art the Clown. I mean, Seb, correct me if I'm wrong. I think Art is like the newest horror icon. I struggle to think of anyone who's really...
No, I'm saying, that's what I'm saying. He's a big, major icon now.
No, I know. I just mean like chronologically. Like I can't think of anyone newer than him that's become such like a phenomenon within horror.
But, because horror has become such a... Because we don't go for like the franchises anymore with like the same villain or something anymore. Like a lot of great horror movies today are like one and done movies, which are fantastic. But
yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, like I'm watching Weapons right now, and I'm watching Sinners, and those are like 2 great horror movies, must watch, I think, and those are standalone movies.
Yeah, Weapons was my movie of the year. I loved Sinners. That was so good too. What's better than one Michael B. Jordan? to Michael B. Jordan. But anyway,
All right.
but yeah, talk about the next game.
Yes, the next game, which is also on my list, is Shadow Sacrament: The Roots of Evil, which is a grim survival horror game where you investigate the secrets of an ancient monastery, solve intricate puzzles, and face terrifying nightmares that lurk in its shadowy halls. Hunt the Haunt. So it's like a maybe a side scroller platformer kind of in a way. It's not like a platformer, but I would say it's like, yeah, it's it just says on Steam. It says side scroller. That's what it looked like. But it's a side scroller where you're fighting monsters and you're solving puzzles. It was kind of like if Resident Evil or like any of those kind of games were like a side scroller instead. And that's a cool concept, so definitely interested me. Again, really cool handheld kind of game. I would play this on like a Steam Deck or something. All right. So the next few games are all like, these games are all on my list, so I'm just gonna fly through them. Flesh Made Fear, I've talked about many times. I've had this on my wish list for a long time. It literally comes out next week on Halloween. It's old school Resident Evil. Tank controls, fixed cameras, pure terror, set in a haunting world of twisted experiments and occult nightmares. The game brings back the survival horror mechanics you know and love while pushing the genre into terrifying new depths. I'm very excited for this game. I'm a huge old school Resident Evil fan and survival horror fan, and this one doesn't appeal to Dory. Super 100% appeals to me. All right, the next game on my list as well was Echograph. Let me pull up it on Steam. Echograph is you photograph ghosts, crack environmental puzzles, manage limited resources, unravel the mystery behind a generational family curse in this classical survival horror experience. So this is like Fatal Frame, but if it was in old school survival horror gameplay, it has fixed camera angle and an inventory system. It again, appeals to me, doesn't appeal to Dory. But I thought it was a really cool concept. It kind of reminded me of that game Heartworm that came out in July, which I really enjoyed because it had the same concept where you take pictures of the ghosts to beat them. But this one was a little more terrifying than that game was, because this game has like more creepier ghosts. But yeah, this is like Fatal Frame, but if it was an old school PS1 graphics and gameplay. All right, next game is Vultures, Scavengers of Death, which is a face-down the twisted monsters of a 90s survival game-inspired world in the tactical, turn-based survival horror. As an operative of vultures, scavenge the infested metropolis for materials and information that could cure the infection plaguing the world. I liked the concept of a more RPG or strategy game, turn-based game, tactical game with horror, right? Like horror is always going to have like fixed camera angles and that kind of gameplay and the limited inventory and all that. But I like some of these. I like these games that are going for something new. So like the other game we talked about with turn-based, and now this one is tactical.
What?
Tactical like RPG. So I thought this looked really cool, and it is clearly influenced by Resident Evil. It has very similar character design, and what they're dressed up as reminds me of like Chris in Resident Evil 1. Very stars heavy. So this game very appealed to me as well. We don't have a release date, but it says coming soon, so I'm going to say maybe next year. Alright, the next game, Hunt the Night. Hunt the Night is a dark fantasy action RPG where you play as Vesper, a stalker fighting and reclaim a world annihilated by horrors, slash through dungeons, endure brutal bosses, and wield forbidden powers in a relentless struggle against the night itself. As I've talked about, I'm a sucker for these pixel graphics with the 2D, 3D mix. I thought this game looked really cool. It's Souls-like, it's dark fantasy. The monster design looked awesome. The colors really popped. I thought this looked really cool. But apparently it already came out in 2023. So I had no idea about this. It has mostly positive reviews. So I wonder why they're advertising it now. I have to do my research with that. But Yeah,
Yeah, I had this on my list actually. I took this off my list because some of the reviews made it seem like this is a game that needs a little work and a little more love
that's
to
probably what it
become like
is.
really
Yeah.
worth playing. So maybe with this advertisement and getting new players, they're going to do just that.
Yeah. All right. The next game was Pinnacle Point.
Yeah, not Welcome to Pinnacle Point,
Yeah,
just Pinnacle Point.
yeah. I don't know why that showed up like that. It might have just been the how they advertised it in the trailer. All right. Pinnacle Point is a dark '90s inspired psychological cosmic horror set on a remote island. You play as Aaron, returning years after an ill-fated expedition, haunted over abandoning his brother, uncover the secrets of the island, confront the horrors awakened, and face those who seek to control its power. Again, old school survival horror, fixed camera angles. Although the combat is third-person shooter, so it mixes between old school Resident Evil and new school Resident Evil. I thought the environment looked really cool. The atmosphere was cool. Yeah, this is definitely me coded. So I wanted to shout that out. That's definitely going on my wish list. All right. All right. Now, Dory, I've been talking enough.
Yep.
The Dropouts, which also appeals to me. What about the Dropouts appeal to you?
Everything. This is so me coded. I know I say that a lot, but it really is. Many students have disappeared in Noirmont High.
Oh,
Wow, I didn't even notice that over the past century. You're Lou. You just transferred here, and weird stuff immediately starts happening to you. A spooky Choices Matter mystery set in 2004, Switzerland. That last part maybe not so much.
this couldn't be any more review. Like they literally could have called this Dory High. It was so
Only
on the
once,
nose.
and it was by accident.
Yeah.
Anyway, so this is a Choices Matter psychological horror mystery game, and let's top it off with it's got a comic book type visual story thing going on.
And
I
teenage angst, I'm sure. In the
teenage
woods.
angst.
In the woods.
Let's go.
Young
in
adult.
the woods.
Growing up.
Young
Coming
adult.
of age. Themes.
Coming of age stuff, absolutely. It's got a nostalgic soundtrack and ambient, a good old 80s vibe everywhere you look, even though we're in the 2000s.
Yeah.
There's no dating, unfortunately. But yeah, it's really cool.
Yeah.
There are traits and fears you can choose from at the beginning. There's a mystery to solve, comic book panels, a cool soundtrack. I already wish listed this before we even talked about it. So I'm so into this, and yeah, this I was the one who brought up the whole horror showcase to Seb because I knew there would be a lot he was interested in. And obviously, Seb is interested in a lot more games than I am, but this was and the Am I Nima and Scarlet Hollow were like the big ones for me. But yeah.
Dory's seal of approval. They should have like
Absolutely.
end of any trailer like really appeals to Dory. Dory should have like her face with like her thumbs up. Dory's seal of approval. All right. We got 4 more games to talk about. Next one was Quarantine Zone: The Last Check, which I believe is already out, or at least it was a demo or something. Oh no, it's not out yet. It comes out next month. I think people were talking about playing the demo. But I like the concept really good, like really well. It's like literally you're checking people if they're infected or not at a quarantine zone. I just like the concept is unique. You don't see games like this. I watched people play it on YouTube and stuff, and it looked like they were having fun with it. But it says command the checkpoint in a collapsing city, screen survivors, manage scarce resources, and hold back the undead. Every your choice. They gotta fix that. That's a typo. Your choice matters, and one mistake can unleash the plague beyond your walls. So you have to, the resource management might get really old for me. I think that probably would kill the game for me. But the concept is cool. This is probably more a game that I would watch people play than I would play myself. But like I said, it's unique. So I just wanted to shout that out. All right, the next game was Riddlewood Manor, which is already out. It came out last week. It is a point-and-click adventure set in a haunted house that will try to kill you each step of your way. Overcome eerie logic puzzles to uncover a maze of mysterious rooms filled with dark secrets, spooky encounters, in hidden pathways. Optional jump scare warning is available. That's cool for people. You want to make jump scare warning optional or not. This appeals more to me than Dory because I like point and click way more. But the art style, I think, would appeal to Dory. I think the art style
Yeah, I did really like the art style.
It's very Disney.
I did like the art style, yeah.
Very Disney, but more scary. So yeah, so I'll check some of them. The reviews are positive, but it only has 43 reviews. And yeah, it only has 43 reviews, but it's only $12 on sale right now. So I don't know. We'll see. All right. Next game was Dreamed Away, which appealed to both of us. So, Dory, can you talk about that one?
Sure. Dreamed Away is an emotional action-adventure RPG with psychological horror. Play as Theo, I think that's how you pronounce it, or maybe Teo.
Yeah.
A boy lost in a dark, mysterious world. Explore a unique reality, duel against darkness, and a unique, fast-paced combat system, and mind your choices. Hey, look at that. Yeah, it's a story-rich RPG where your choices matter. I got kind of like Undertale vibes.
Yeah, I was getting Undertale and Earthbound. Those are the vibes.
Yes,
I was
Undertale and Earthbound vibes, but maybe a little more messed up? Question mark. It's already out. It has positive reviews based on 23, so not a ton to go off, but it did just come out. The Games Radar said the spooky indie RPG is actually dark as hell. I've never seen anything like it.
Yeah.
It's a story-driven dark element set in France in the 90s.
Yeah.
If you look at like screenshots of the gameplay, very much looks like Undertale.
Yeah, this is like a perfect Steam Deck game. Perfect.
Yeah.
Handheld game.
Yeah, so I'm adding this to my wish list. I think this will be the last one I do, but yeah.
Yeah, you don't even need to do that because I want to buy it. All right. The last game was Paranormal Activity Threshold. I've never been a big fan of Paranormal Activity. I always think I was a bit overrated. I'm into ghost stuff, but I thought those movies were just boring. I just wanted to shout this out because I'm curious as how it's gonna play. Like, I don't even know if I'm gonna play this. I just want to see. I'll probably watch a YouTuber play it or something. Streamers play it. But I'm just curious, like, if they're actually gonna do anything with ghosts or like it's just gonna be like a nothing burger. I mean, there's demons and stuff in the Paranormal Activity, so it's clearly demons and spirits and stuff like that. It's not like they keep a mystery there. It's very obvious, like a ghost and stuff. But I'm just very curious how this is gonna play. So.
Yeah, Kim and I actually just watched Paranormal. I was telling Seb this before the podcast, before we started, but I just watched Paranormal Activity for the first time with Kim, and yeah, I gotta agree with Seb. The first half was very boring. The second half was good, and the ending really stays with you, I think. But it's very, very overrated franchise. I think it's had its place in the mid 2000s when it was a lot more shocking.
Yes.
But I think time has not been kind to these movies in terms of how shocking it is.
Yeah, it's definitely a big movie for like the MySpace, Facebook days, but not as much anymore.
Yeah,
I like the third one kind of, but that's about it. I always thought they were boring movies. All right, so that is the horror indie showcase. Overall, I'm very happy with the showcase. I was into a lot of games. I'm probably not going to play most of them, just because there's so many games to play. There's only so much time, but really cool. Obviously appealed more to me than Dory, and I appreciate her showing me the showcase, like telling me that's because I never heard of this showcase before. Obviously, the
only reason I knew is because IGN was highlighting it. So
gotcha. So yeah, like obviously I tend to be more into horror indie than Dory, but so obviously more games appeal to me because obviously horror indie is all about they usually love the survival horror and they love the fixed camera angle system and all that, so that usually appeals more to me. And I grew up with the PS1 horror and PS2 horror. Dory didn't really grow up with that, which is fine. All right, so now let's transition to our spotlights of the night, which are going to be Ninja Gaiden 4 and Pokémon Legends ZA. ZA being our main topic of the night and the thumbnail. But let's start with Ninja Gaiden 4, which we both have played. Dory beat it. I'm halfway through it. So I'll let Dory handle this topic, and then I'll add on to her pros. and cons.
All right, so a little bit of background context. This is my first Ninja Gaiden game I have ever played. I did not grow up with the games. I did not play them on Xbox. Similar to Devil May Cry, I was always very nervous about playing these games because I heard they were very hard. And, obviously back then the internet wasn't quite as developed. Guides weren't quite as plentiful. And so I just never played them because I just didn't want to get frustrated. Fast forward to today, or not today, but this year, Ninja Gaiden's very accessible. I would say I was a total newbie. I played on normal. I died around, I want to say a little over 50 times throughout my 13 hours. I think it was like 56 if you want to get accurate. So I died basically like 4 times per hour. But anyway, so it's accessible though. I will say without that revive item, this game would be a lot harder. If you did not have that second chance from dying, if you have enough ninja coins, I would find this game a lot harder and maybe put it on beginner. But luckily you do have that. And decent checkpoints. I think they could be a little better in a couple places. But let's talk about the reason why we're all here. The fucking combat is amazing. I have this at a 9 out of 10 for like a quarter of the game before I'll talk about the problems later, but before some problems reared their ugly head. The combat is just incredible. It is addictive. It is satisfying. It is bloody as hell. If you don't like blood in your games, do not play a Ninja Gaiden game. What are you doing? This is so incredibly bloody. I think there's some accessibility options to slightly reduce the blood, but I can't imagine it helps that much because the blood is just overflowing. You are just killing people left and right. There are these special moves called obliterations, where if you break an enemy's guard enough, they just die. Cut their body in half, cut their head off. It's sick as hell. I love it. There's Yakumo, who is our main character this time, not Ryu. Has 4 different weapons to choose from, and you get them throughout the game. They're all really cool. I never really switched between them. I'm not sure if you're supposed to switch between them as you do spoilers. Or not as you do spoilers, as you do, I don't want to spoil anything, but basically all the weapons had their purpose. And I don't know if you can switch between them during combos. That's what I was trying to say earlier. But I never tried that. I just whatever weapon they gave me, I just used that for the handful of levels that I had. Sometimes I'd switch up if I got bored, and because of the pacing, I did kind of get bored sometimes. Not bored, but less enthused, I guess would be the right word. The Platinum engine, this is really good. This is the best engine I've seen in a while. I had a few frame drops, and that was when it was really busy. It was almost never an issue. It was silky smooth. I must have gotten 60 FPS. I wasn't counting or didn't have a counter in the top left, but I must have gotten 60 frames per second, if not more, pretty consistently throughout the whole game. It was incredibly fast, incredibly smooth. It just felt good to play. It felt great to play. I like all the boss fights. All the boss fights are really cool. Obviously, the humanoid fights tend to be more interesting, just because they're kind of like you. Sometimes with, not humanoid fights, boss fights, the hitboxes can be a little wonky at times. But generally speaking, they're really fun too. And I felt like all of them seemed really epic and interesting and, just challenging. I already talked about the accessibility. Combos feel very satisfying to pull off. Did I yell Asuna drop every time I did an Asuna drop? No, of course I didn't. That would be ridiculous. I might have, though. I might have. But it was really fun. I didn't do all of the... I will say, before I forget, some of the combos were weird. You had to, kind of go forward and back to do some combos. I don't know if that's standard in Ninja Gaiden, but it just looks stupid. You twirl around in a circle and then you press square or X or Y, and I'm I don't understand why it works like that. Yakumo just looks like an idiot. He looks like he's moving away from the enemy just to attack them, which obviously is a thing in swordplay. But I guess in the game's context, it's I don't understand why you're doing this. So anyway, the cyberpunk vibes are here, and they are many. I really like them. I think the environmental details and storytelling is really strong here. And I want to shout out the music. So most of the music's just fine. It can get you hyped every now and then, But the music specifically when you're at the ninja shop, and I think Seb knows what I'm talking about, when you're Yakumo and you're at the ninja shop, oh, I sat there for a couple minutes. I was like, dun, 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 dun. And I was like, pew, pew, pew. Anyway, I'm totally spiking my mic. But it's terrible. Go check out the if you listen to none of the music from the soundtrack, go check that out. It's really good. And yeah, there's some replay value. Look, I don't care enough to do boss challenges or play on Master Ninja or replay the levels as another character. Hint hint. I just don't care enough to do that personally. But other Ninja Gaiden fans are going to be very happy with the replay value and are going to be like, yes, let me tear my soul from my body as I fight all of these bosses on Master Ninja difficulty. I am not one of those people.
So so I've been playing the game on hard mode, but not I wouldn't go the highest though. I would never do that to myself. But the combat is the highlight of the game. It is fun, and it's fast, and it's fluid, and all the kills are really, really fun. It's the best part of the game. That's where the game really shines the most. It's very old school, gameplay focused, just very simple level design. Just fight a bunch of enemies, fight a boss. It feels like a game from 2005 in a good way. That sounds like a con, but that's a good thing. It's a lot of tools and weapons and styles you can use and mix and match, however works for you. So it's very subjective, but I've been really enjoying the mix of that. I think, as Dory mentioned, the killing animations are fantastic. The gore in this game is amazing. It's really fun. It's really over the top, and that's the best part. I mean, it's a Platinum game, so Platinum, when they make a really good game, their gameplay is usually really good, and that's the case with this game. The fighting is awesome, and the gore is over the top. It's really over the top, and it's great. The boss fights are really fun. They're challenging. I think those are really fun, and it's going to appeal to a certain audience. This is definitely a game for a hardcore action fan, more so than other gamers. If you don't like these kind of games where you want something casual and simple and easy to play or pick up and play, this is not the game for you. This is the kind of game where you need to be on your A game. You need to be locked in and focused on what you're fighting, because you will die a lot if you're not. This is very much so a hardcore action game. This is on the higher end of difficulty. Of course, there's accessibility and things like that. We play on lower difficulties if that appeals to you. But the fun of these games, of course, are like overcoming a strong challenge. The cyberpunk vibes, as Dory mentioned, are really cool. I really like the setting and everything like that. And I like the music as well. It's nothing like, I would say it's my top 6 soundtracks of the year, but I think it's a really cool soundtrack. And the replay value is worth mentioning only because the game is not super long, so these games are always meant to be replayed several times on higher difficulties and different challenges, so that's cool as well. You get your money's worth. So overall, I think this is a very good game, and this is the definition of gameplay is king, and that's where this game really shines the most. So, all right, Dory, what are your cons for this game?
All right, Ninja Gaiden fans, come at me because I got some cons to talk about. Actually, you probably don't need to come at me because I've seen some Ninja Gaiden fans say the exact same thing. All right, look, we got to talk about the elephant in the room. The pacing in this game is fucking dreadful. I wanted to give this game like a 9 out of 10, like 4.5 out of 5 for a good quarter of the game. This game drags. Especially, I feel like the second or third shrine that you go after when you're in the area where it's like chapters like 4, 5, and 6, maybe 7. It just goes on and on and on. And and this is the other key thing, there's no new enemies. There's no new enemies to spice things up. There's no new challenges. There's no new weapons. It's the same damn thing. And look, I love this combat so much, but this did not need to be 13 hours. I think if you had made this a 10-hour even kind of game and gotten rid of a couple chapters, maybe even a few, I think you would have had a better game on your hands. The pacing the enemy variety only really matters because the pacing is so bad. every time it seems like you're getting close to a shrine, basically you're going to these shrines and unsealing. This is all in the trailer. I'm not spoiling anything, but you're basically working to unseal the Dark Dragon for reasons that I won't get into because that's a spoiler. But you're unsealing the Dark Dragon, and from previous games, and every time it seems like you're getting close to a shrine, the game will just pull the rug under you and say, haha, not so fast, you gotta wait another chapter or two. And I'm just like, I don't understand the point of that. Like, it just feels so counterintuitive to me. So that was frustrating. Seb also has some notes here about the environments being repetitive too. Like,
Yeah.
sometimes I just got tired of being in these like windswept canyon areas.
The same thing over and over again.
Yeah, very drab, not very colorful, not very interesting to look at. I'll skip to my stuff.
Yeah.
But the platforming in this game is very finicky. Very finicky. If you do not do it exactly the way the game wants, prepare to fall and then lose a good amount of your health.
Especially
which is not affordable because you die pretty fast in this game.
Especially when you're wall running, it should be way smoother. Wall running is frustrating. The camera is like not your friend in this game.
Yeah. That sucks because it's like we've been doing action games like this for about over 20 years. Like, come on, guys. And it's Platinum and Team Ninja. I mean, if anybody should know how to do, you would think anybody should know how to do camera angles. It would be them. But I found myself dying almost as much to failed wall runs or missed inputs with grapples as much as I died to enemies sometimes. Which is really frustrating because the whole point of the platforming is to make you feel like a fucking ninja. And instead, I feel like the worst ninja in the goddamn world.
This game is definitely rough around the edges when it comes to the platforming. I think the action is so good in this game, but like the platforming is almost equally as bad. Where it's frustrating. Not enough to ruin the game for me or anything like that, but it's definitely
but it is noticeable.
Yeah.
Yep. I'll talk about Ryu for a second. I don't want to get too much in this for fear of spoilers. How do I put this nicely? Ryu feels really inconsequential and unimportant, and it feels like they just put him here so fans wouldn't be mad.
Yeah.
And guess what? Fans are still mad because he's in the game, and that's not a spoiler because they literally said it in all the trailers.
Yeah.
He's not in it for very long. Don't get too attached to Ryu or playing as Ryu. He's not in it for very long. And the parts that you do play with him as, while they are really cool at first, because of the way that you play as Ryu as opposed to Yakumo, it gets kind of old pretty quickly.
Yeah, this is just like Devil May Cry 4, literally.
Yeah.
Ironically, being a fourth game, too. Where you play as Nero, like, the whole game, and Dante's kind of in it. This is the same situation.
Yeah, and they said in the press that they didn't want Yakumo... They didn't want Yakumo to steal Ryu's spotlight, but to echo one of the Steam reviews that I saw, it kind of feels like he did. And I don't care. I'm not a Ninja Gaiden diehard. I wasn't there at the start.
I'm not either.
I see Ryu, and I'm like, that's a cool guy right there. But I don't go like, oh my god, I must play as Ryu.
The lore. The lore is sacred. We must keep Ryu the main character. Yeah.
The fucking lore of Ninja Gaiden 4. Good lord, people. Be serious. That's the other thing, too. The story is not good. I know some people are going to be like, I don't come here to Ninja Gaiden for story. And that is fine.
And we don't.
I don't And that makes total sense. And I did not come here expecting fucking Ashley Johnson and Troy Baker to belt out some crooning tunes about how bleak the world is and how the Dark Dragon's going to destroy everyone, right?
Yeah.
But just on a basic level, it's not very interesting. It's
lame.
I've been thinking about like metaphors for it. It's like, I'm not going to be able to do a good one, but it's like if you had a cake and like the cake was really good, like the core of the cake, but the icing you had on it was like really substandard.
You gotta scrape it off.
So you wouldn't be like, it's a bad cake, but you would be like, I could have done without the icing.
That's a good metaphor because like you scrape off you scrape it off the frosting. It's like the same. You could just easily just skip the cutscenes. That's the same thing.
Yes. God, you please do
scrape the cutscenes. Scrape the cutscenes.
Yep. That's fine.
Yeah.
Here's my other hot take.
Yeah,
go ahead.
Yeah. Just to add on to that, like the story in this game is very meh, and I found the characters a bit annoying. And I don't know. There's a lot of talking, like where you're doing everything, and there's always constant talking while you're fighting, and it's not bad or anything. It's just I'm just not attached to anyone. I really don't care. Like the gameplay is so much fun that it's not a big deal, but it's definitely could have been better. Because Devil May Cry,
Sayori is
just
like the
better.
only semi-interesting character, but
Yeah,
her only personality trait is being sassy and unserious, and like it
yeah.
kind of gets tiring.
Because like Devil May
So,
Cry is not some groundbreaking story either, but like the story and the lore is much more interesting. I think for me,
yeah.
I just didn't click with me.
Here's my other hot take. This one actually some people might not like. I think the sexualization of the women is a little much. Now I know that Ninja Gaiden is known for this, and some of the characters are from Dead or Alive, and so I understand that it's kind of baked into it. And look, I'm not. You can sexualize your characters if you want, right? Whatever. But like, it feels vastly unequal. There are like 3 women in this entire game, and 2 of them are barely wearing anything, and the third one you never see at all. All I'm asking for is that if we're gonna do this, can we at least get Ryu in a speedo and Yakumo like with a crop top? Like I'm just saying, can we have some equality? That's all I'm saying. I just would appreciate if the women weren't the only ones showing off what they got. And I'm also not saying, by the way, that the character models don't look good, because they definitely do.
Yeah.
Very respectfully to the 2 women who are shown off in this game, they do look fantastic. But I just feel like we could have some equality here. Um, the voice acting and writing are standard fare. I just didn't care about them at all. And it's like you can say like, oh well, it's a Ninja Gaiden game. You're not supposed to care. I don't want to spoil anything for Seb, but I will say towards the end of the game, it is very clear to me that Tecmo and Team Ninja and Platinum want you to care at least about one or two specific characters and their relationships to each other. And I found it patently absurd, because I'm like, y'all do not have the writing chops for me to give a shit about this moment. I am not going to get emotionally invested. You are not getting anything out of me, game. So it is clear that they wanted you to care about the story, at least on some level towards the end of it. It didn't work for me. And so that I have to criticize that, because they clearly tried to some level, and I think they didn't succeed. I will say that the last section of the game feels a little uneven in difficulty. It's not a huge deal, but and I understand it's the end of the game, so again, not a big deal.
Yeah.
But it did frustrate me, especially when you think you're trying to keep this vague, but when you think you're done, something else pops up and you're like, well shit, I just used all my items, now I'm going to die a whole bunch because the game didn't fucking telegraph that I wasn't done, right?
Yeah.
And that just feels unfair. Yakumo feels like he listens to Three Cheers for Sweet Revenge, and I just don't like him. I think he's a bland, boring protagonist who has no personality or depth at all. He's mid-2000s edgelord in the worst way possible. He's uninteresting, dull, and boring. I know I just said 3 synonyms, but I really want y'all to know how much I don't like Yakumo. I don't hate him, but like I have no strong feelings for him besides a mild dislike, which is, I feel like, even worse, right? Like I don't hate him.
Yeah.
But like he's given a couple of opportunities to show some emotions, and all he does is like, the mission is so important.
Yeah, he shops at Hot Topic and has 3 days grace on his MySpace page.
Absolutely. He's absolutely listening to 1X on repeat, as he should. It's a great album. But yeah, that man has not moved out of his mother's basement. Shout out to that.
He
channel.
even has like the hairstyle from like.
Yes, he does. He really does. One little gripe. There is a character cameo at one point in the game. I think Seb's already seen this.
Yeah.
Who is just completely not explained, shows up out of nowhere. It is totally a thirst trap, which is fine, respectfully. But it's just never explained. I don't know why the fuck I should care. I had to look up who the hell this was and why I should care about them and why is it the big... I'm sure some Ninja Gaiden fans were like, oh my god, it's this character. But I was like, I have no idea who the fuck this is or why I should care. So that was a little quibble. And it felt at odds with other cameos, where like later in the game you get a cameo from a character that was in previous Ninja Gaiden games, and they're like, oh, let me introduce myself, I'm yada yada. And I'm like, where the fuck was this energy like 5 hours ago when we introduced this other character, and I have no idea who the hell they are. Anyway, those are all my gripes. Seb, anything you want to add?
No, that's it. Because this time we did it at the same time, so that's everything for me. So what would you
Yeah.
rate this game?
So I would, I want to so badly I want to give it a 9 out of 10, but or a 4.5 out of 5. But instead, I'm going to give it kind of a weak 8.5 out of 10 or 4.25 out of 5. It's a really great game. I don't want to undersell it. I know my cons seemed pretty like many, but the combat is so excellent that it overrides pretty much
Yeah.
everything else. Skip the cutscenes. Just trying to make those levels go by a little faster. I just kind of got sick of a couple of chapters after a while because the game just kept going. I lost my cool at one point, and and it was over something stupid. Like I almost never got mad at this game because I lost, because almost always it felt like it was on me. Like I was always like, yeah, that makes sense. That that makes all the sense in the world that I died there, right? So I almost never got mad at that.
Yeah.
But what I got frustrated with in this game, and what caused me to like lose my cool for a minute, was I was like, it's the same fucking enemy over and over again with slight variations, and sometimes those variations are very annoying, especially towards the end of a chapter. It can just get overwhelming.
Yeah.
And so take breaks on this game, especially because it's so mission chapter based. If you feel like you're getting pulled down by how repetitive things can be, don't be like me and push ahead. Take a break. But yeah, 4.25 out of 5. Really great game. It is in my top 10, although it's not in my top 5 like I originally thought it would be. The action and the Platinum Engine carry this game, while the pacing, lack of enemy variety, and story hold it back. So,
Yeah. So to me, this is the most definitive like 8 out of 10 game. It's not even a Starfield 8. It's a definitive 8 out of 10.
yeah,
It's a really great game. The gameplay is king, and it holds well, and it's really fun to play. It's a fun old school game, and it takes me back to like 2005, and that's all it needs to be, really. It just, as we talked about, the story and the characters and everything is just so just blah that like it keeps it from taking the next step and being on the top tier for me. But it's still a great game. It's just for my top 10. I have so many 8 out of 10s this year that they're all like mushed together, and I have to decide how to rank them because I can make cases for all of them over each other. I can't think of the last time in a year where I've had this many 8 out of 10s, which are great scores, right? But it doesn't quite reach the top tier, but it's definitely a great game, and I strongly recommend it if you like hardcore action games. It's a pure platinum game, so it's you go in for the gameplay and the awesome combat, and like that's where this game really really shines. And this game looks really good. You'll have a blast playing it. I strongly recommend it if you like action games. So just be mindful. Don't go into this expecting like a heavy narrative, like a modern cinematic game or like that. It's this game purely action. So 8 out of 10 for me. So Dory has it higher than me. Is it in my top 10? I don't know yet. It's in the category of like 8 other games. So I'm gonna have a big decision to make in the future. All right. Let's get to the main topic of the night, which is Pokemon Legends ZA, which I have played on the Switch too. I am at the end of the game. There's 35 missions, or 36. I don't say 35. I'm at 30. I'm almost at the rank. So how it works with this game, and that's why it's called Z to A, is that there's a ranking system, right? You're a trainer. You go to Lumio City. The whole game takes place in the one city, and you want to rank up from Z all the way to A, right? And you do that by challenging certain trainers, and every time you beat that trainer, you rank up. So, start with the pros. The characters' animations are much stronger in this game. This is probably in terms of character animation, it's probably the best Pokemon game of all time. The characters are really smooth. They're well animated. It's clean. This is definitely a pretty Pokemon game when it comes to visual. When it comes to the character models. Usually the character models in Pokemon games are very stiff and they feel dated. This is probably the most modern Pokemon has ever looked in terms of character models. The new battle system is actually really fun in my opinion. It's in real time, so it's not turn based. You control the trainer and you move around the map, and your Pokemon will follow you. So if you want to like dodge a move, you have to dodge a move. And when you play like Alpha Pokemon, for example, and Mega Pokemon, they attack you, the trainer, and you have to dodge out of the way like it's a Souls game. You're constantly moving around the map and things like that, and you can return your Pokemon and your Pokeball to avoid a trap, to avoid a move, and you can change your Pokemon all in real time. So it's very different than the usual Pokemon game where it's turn based. It's really fun to play, and of course the Mega Evolutions are really cool in this game because they made so many Mega Evolutions for so many different Pokemon. They all look unique and different, and I think most of them look really great. It makes the fights more engaging. Lumio City feels more packed with tons of side quests, shops, and places to explore. So even though it's a small map, like literally, the whole game is just one map. There's a lot going on. There's so much to do in this game, but not in a way where it's overwhelming like a Ubisoft game. I feel like the pacing to this game in terms of side content or extra things you want to do is really good. There's issues with the story pacing, which I'll talk about, but the side content, I think there's a easy pace to it. It's very you get a lot accomplished in a short amount of time. You can play this game for like an hour and like do several side quests, collect, catch several Pokemon. There's a fast travel in this game is really good. Once you move to any location, like one time, like any Pokemon Center, any shop or anything like that, they all unlock fast travel, so you can just zip around the entire maps, and it's really good. So even though there's no like vehicle system in this game where you can't ride a bike or ride out on Pokemon or anything, it doesn't really matter because you can just fast travel everywhere. All right. There's a good mix of nostalgia and new ideas, especially with how Mega Evolutions and Trainers ranks are handled. The soundtrack is good, and it gives the city a real vibe. It feels like a real breathing city. I've never seen a Pokemon game be this alive in a city. Almost every NPC has dialogue, which some of them are pretty wild actually, but it really does feel like a real city. They did a great job with that. Once the story opens up, the gameplay loop gets very addictive. That's the best part of this game. It's very similar to Ninja Gaiden 4, where the story is not the greatest, but the gameplay itself is so great. It's very addicting. Catching, battling, upgrading, and repeat. Right, it's so much fun to grind. There's one of those few games where like grinding is actually fun to play, fun to do. There's several cool callbacks to previous Pokemon games, including characters and story elements. This game is a sequel to Black and White, I believe, and there's a lot of callbacks to those games. Characters from those games show up. It's like a direct sequel. It really does feel like a direct sequel to previous Pokemon games. It's like and I think that was really cool if you're like in the Pokemon lore, which Pokemon does have a strong lore to it. And then one of the best parts of the game was the customization. You can fully customize your character. You have many different hairstyles and outfits you can buy, and they're relatively inexpensive because you make money just by battling Pokemon, but trainers so much. And it was really fun mixing and matching and what outfits I wanted to wear at the time. Like it's really cool. So overall, the pros is the gameplay really shines. Gameplay is king, and battling and collecting Pokemon is really fun, and it's really fun unlocking outfits and hairstyles and however you want to dress your character. Everybody can look unique, and I would say it's not as quite as fun collecting Pokemon in this game as the first Arceus game was, because you're like an open world I just feel like the gameplay was more fun in terms of the catching in that game, but this game still does a good job with it. So the Pokemon are not like, there's no open world in this game, so it's all in the city, and the city has zones where the Pokemon are invading the city, so they put the Pokemon in certain zones, so you walk into a zone, and once you walk into the zone, then any Pokemon can attack you at any moment, and that's when you start battling and stuff like that. All right. Any questions about the pros?
Not really. So basically you're in one city the entire game
Yeah.
and you're just going
Basically
from
Paris. Basically Paris.
yeah, basically so you're basically in Poke Paris
Yeah.
the entire game and you're
Yeah.
just moving around
Yep.
trying to is it like is it like this one location where you're trying to rank up from Z to A, or do you rank up from Z to A getting side missions and like catching Pokemon? Like how does that work? How do you get from Z to A? Maybe I missed you saying that.
Okay, so how it works with the ranking system is it's part of the story. So you just do the story as normal, and eventually they'll want you to collect like 20,000 tickets. And so what happens is this game has a day and night cycle. So at nighttime, a battle zone opens up on the map, and the cool thing is you can fast travel to any of them, so you don't have to walk all the way over there or anything like that. So you fast travel to the zone, and you battle many trainers. And the cool thing, this game has like some stealth mechanics and stuff like that. So like you can surprise attack a trainer, like everybody, because their Pokemon's sitting there waiting, and or they can surprise attack you. And every time you battle, you get points, and then there's kind of like a roguelite gameplay mechanic in this game where like in the battle zones at night you get like bonus points for doing certain objectives, like defeat 3 Pokemon using fire type move, or defeat 5 Pokemon using a surprise attack, and you get extra points that way. And then you get a bonus for how many trainers you beat. So if you beat like 15 trainers, you get times 2, and you'll get like 30,000, 40,000 gold to buy whatever. So it's really cool, fun gameplay like that. And eventually, what happens is you finally unlock the battle ticket, whatever it's called, and then you go to the trainer that's on your Rotom phone, and you go to the trainer and you battle him. And when you beat that one trainer, which is part of the story, it's linear story. You move up in the ranks, so that's how it works. So it's story driven, not side quest driven. Side there's tons, and I mean. The best way I would describe the side missions in this game is very similar to Yakuza. You know how the side missions have like their own stories, right? And you just talk to a random NPC, and it's not like a big side quest, right? It's not like an RPG where you're going off and to beat something or like that. These side quests some of them are very minuscule, and they're just like everyday city life living side missions. You know what I'm talking about? Like, how Yakuza is like you just kind of just stumble on a random event. And it's nothing major, but it's like you talking to a character and you just like, fetch me this. And so they're not the greatest side quests, but it's similar to Yakuza games, I think.
Okay.
Actually, the best way I would describe this game is very similar to a Yakuza game. Like, I'm talking about there's a small map and there's side quests everywhere that you kind of just stumble onto. That's the best way I would describe this game. Any other questions?
Cool. No, not really. I was just curious how it all worked.
All right, no worries. Let's move on to the cons now. So the cons for me, first of all, is the lack of voice acting is very jarring in this game. As I talked about, the character animation in this game is really good. Like the character models look the best I've ever seen in a Pokemon game. It's very clean. And the cutscenes and the way everybody moves is really well animated, but like it's so jarring that they don't have any voices. Like it's missing voice acting so badly. And I don't understand why they won't add voice acting in this game. It's like, how do you upgrade the animation so much, but then have like 0 voice acting? So that's a big drawback for me. The graphics and performance in this game are not great, but they're totally fine. There's some areas that look more rough than others, and the frame rate dips here and there, but it's not Scarlet and Violet bad by any. It's not even close to that. All right, no, it's not short Sword and Shield bad. This game actually on the Switch 2, because I'm playing the Switch 2 version, plays really nice. Just expect some blurriness here and there, and some environments don't look that great, and there's some dips in frame rate here and there, but not something you'll really notice in this kind of game. So it's not like there's a shitload of stuff going on screen and your frame rate's going to drop massively. It's fine. So it's a con, but it's a very minor con. One of the big problems I think with this game is the beginning. it's like a Pokemon game. There's too many tutorials and people explaining things to you. And it takes too long to get going. It's a I want to say a 30-hour game. 20 well, it's like a 20 to 30-hour game depending on how much you did in this game. And the first 2 hours or 3 hours are just nonstop. This is how this works, and this is how this works, and let me explain this to you, and let me explain this to you, and that's one of the major problems because I think the pacing in this game is not great. This is the main missions, the main story is not bad, but it's just a bit boring because I think the reason why it's boring is the pacing issues. There's some missions that just feel like filler, like especially when you have to fight the mega Pokemon that are surround the city because it's your job to save the city and you have to beat the mega Pokemon and save the Pokemon or they're gonna destroy the city by mega evolving. And it was cool at first here and there, but now it's like every like 4 or 5 missions, it's like, oh no, we have to fight 3 more again. We have to fight 3 more again. And it's just the same pattern. It just gets very repetitive. All right, the game's all in one city, so it's definitely more of a boxed in experience. So if you like the open world aspect where there's different terrains and stuff like that in Pokemon games, this is not the game for you. This game, all the environment in this game is literally the entire city, so it's very the same looking locations. It's a city, so you're gonna see a lot of like metallic buildings and things like that. It's not, but again, this is not a major criticism for me. It's a minor one. It doesn't really bother me. Some of the side mechanics, like stealth and the mini missions, feel half baked. As I talked about, like the Yakuza level side quest. The side quests in Yakuza are much better. I think the side quests in this game are just some of them are just like tacked on. They could have done really cool stuff with the side quests, and some of them are like literally 2-minute things, and they're just whatever. And the stealth is, it can be quite frustrating because like when you want to sneak up on a trainer, they turn around so fast all the time that I never get a chance to really stealth. So there's just like no point. So it's like I only get this stealth attack like maybe 30% of the time. They usually find me first, so it just feels half baked. It should have been much better than that. I think the Mega Evolution boss fights are cool at first, but they drag on too long. It's kind of like the Digimon game where the health pools are too large, and the boss fights just feel like forever, and they hit like a ton damage, and it gets very frustrating sometimes. Because they'll do like a move, an AoE move that like hits the whole area, and your character just gets like constantly attacked, and you have to constantly dodge. And your Pokemon, the AI is not always the greatest was following you. So like my Charizard will just sit in the whirlpool and not move and just die because it's not moving with me, or it's getting hit on the side of it, and the Mega Evolution battles are cool at first, but they definitely get old and they lose the appeal after a while. All right, this is a small criticism, but it's definitely annoying at times. I feel like the Pokemon lose health way too easily in this game. Like I'm constantly using items or switching Pokemon in real time because my Pokemon die so fast. Like I'll be like 10 levels ahead of the Pokemon I'm battling, and the whole fight is just me spamming attack moves and they're spamming attack moves, and so I win the fight, but like my Pokemon's on red. We're just going back and forth. It's like a heavyweight fight. We're not even blocking. We're just sharing blows, and that's pretty much half the fights in this game feel like. The Pokemon just die way too easy, or faint too easy. I already talked about the story. Overall, in the cons, it's a fun step forward for the series, but it's just not the big reinvention some people are hoping for. Don't expect a masterpiece of Pokemon. Like this is the next big step for the new evolution for the series. This is just another good game, controversial but good game in the series. It's gonna appeal to a lot of people. It's gonna be very popular. It's gonna sell a lot. People are going to be like, why are you buying this game? You're supporting greed. Game Freak is lazy. Nintendo doesn't care. They'll make money anyway. It's that conversation. This game is not going to change that, unfortunately. But it's still a great game, in my opinion. Mostly because the gameplay is so freaking good and addictive. And this is one of the most fun games of the year. If you like Pokemon and you like that style and everything. So, any questions about the cons?
No, they all made sense to me.
Yeah. So overall, I give this game an 8 out of 10. And the reason why is because this game has more improved animation. The character models look the best I've ever seen in a Pokemon game. It's really fun. The gameplay is king. This is where the game really shines. The gameplay is really fun and addictive. But do not expect a home run from this game. This is not a home run. This is a nice double hit. Play baseball metaphor. This is a nice hit, but it's not a home run. I think this game's gonna be very popular. It's gonna sell very well. I think it's got a 79 on Metacritic, so it's not bad reviews, but it's not amazing reviews, right? That's pretty much where I fall with this game. It's a 79, 8 out of 10. Gameplay really carries it. I'm still waiting for this franchise to take the next step. As I talked about with the Digimon game, where the Digimon game had its issues, and we said it was a 7.5 game, right? But Pokemon is still falling behind in the animation department, where Digimon had really amazing animations and big, awesome,
and it had voice acting
and set pieces, and it made
probably a better story from what it sounds like.
Yes,
I mean, I don't know,
better story. So it made the next step. Yeah. Why this game still should be taking the next step. If this game is more contained, because it's a more contained game in the city, right? So the story and the characters should have been better. And at some point, this game, I'm not saying the story is awful, but it just should have been better. They're still making Pokemon games where there's too many tutorials in the beginning, too much fluff, and too much over explaining everything. It's a kid's game. Pokemon's a kid franchise, but you gotta understand you have a very huge audience, and you gotta make these games a little more appealing for everybody.
You can have the tutorials, but just allow people to skip them, right?
Exactly.
Toggle it as an option.
Yeah.
There's no reason you can't appeal to both audiences.
Because every Pokemon game I have had the same criticism, and they treat their audience like we're 5 years old and we never played a Pokemon game before. I'm like, sir, I've been playing Pokemon since 1998. It's not that much different. I know how everything works. Can we just get on with it? And that sums up this game, I think. It's just nice step forward, but should be a bigger step forward. So
yeah, it's funny because I feel like Digimon could have done a little bit more to.
Yes.
Xena, come here. Xena.
Yes.
Xena, come. I feel like Digimon could have done a better job explaining its kind of Shin Megami Tensei-esque system.
That's the irony.
Because I felt very confused by it sometimes.
Yeah. So that's the irony in there. So yeah, it's an 8 out of 10. Once again, another 8 out of 10 for me. This game is in that blob of 9 to 10 games I have in the 8 out of 10 category. Is it in my top 10? Is it in my honorable mention? Is it just missed my list? That's what I have to figure out, right? I'm in that boat. I can't think of another year where I had this many 8 out of 10 games. I'm going to be leaving a lot of games out in my top 10, so it's going to be challenging. All right, well, that concludes our episode tonight. Next week, we will be talking about Outer Worlds 2. That will be our main topic of the night. It's coming out like Tuesday or Monday. I think it comes out Tuesday. It doesn't come out on a Friday. I already bought it on Steam. I'm very excited for it. The reviews have been pretty good. I got like an 8 out of 10 and stuff.
Yeah.
And it doesn't sound like it's gonna be the masterpiece I was hoping for. But still, it's a really good game. We'll also talk about Keeper and some other games that we haven't talked about yet. So we'll see what we talk about. Any other games you have in mind, Dory?
No, I was going to mention Keeper if you didn't. I don't know why Xena's barking. I think she hears somebody on the steps or outside.
That's dogs for you.
That's dogs. Yep. Xena.
All right, Dory, you have a good night. All right. And happy Halloween, everybody, because the time we record the next episode,
yes,
it'll be November.
We will not see you next week for Halloween. Well, we won't be in time.
Yes.
Because it'll be like the day after Halloween. So I hope everyone has a lovely Halloween.
Yeah.
It's been a great October for me overall. So
yes.
Excited to wrap it up with a bunch of candy and horror.
Absolutely. So you all have a good night, everybody. Take care, Dory, and peace.